Right, guys, welcome back to the show. We are joined by one of the top hairstylists in the Middle East. Deena Alawaid has been making a mark for herself from working in Paris Fashion Week to styling A-listers, including the likes of Kendall Jenner, Gigi Hadid, and Huda Kattan. Welcome to the show, the most fabulous gal.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Of course. Pleasure's all ours. So thank you so much for coming. So over the last decade and a half, right, you've had a crazy journey. You've done so much, but can you talk to us about the start and when you realized that you want to make this a career full time?
Yeah, of course. Actually, I went into school for marketing originally, and hairstyling was the last thing on my mind. About 2-3 years into it, I realized I wanted to do something a lot more hands-on, and I was inspired by my hairdresser at the time. So I got into the salon world and eventually just kind of started expanding into all different areas of the hair industry.
And was this here in Dubai?
No, in Canada. So once I decided to make the shift, I knew I wanted to go somewhere a lot bigger than where I was. I'm from a very small town in Canada. So I moved to Dubai. I thought it was a good opportunity to kind of dive into a big city, grow my knowledge in my career, and also get a little bit more information on my Middle Eastern roots. Yeah.
But also studying marketing plays a role in it, for sure, because then you know how to brand yourself, how to market yourself, how to think of it from the business aspect.
I think honestly, as creatives, we all need to know how to do a little bit of marketing. Anyone that has their own business or has a clientele needs to constantly learn and keep up with marketing. So yeah, I'm definitely thankful my parents made me go through that.
So when you, I got made to go through college and now, thank you, Mom, I'm glad I did it. So when you moved to Dubai, how far along in your career were you? How tricky is it? Because it sounds like you just chose Dubai for a number of reasons, but also starting very fresh here. How far into your career were you? What was it like kind of building up at a dress book here?
I was actually only about a year into my sole career. So in Canada, you do have to go to school for a year and then you assist someone for another year. So it was a year into my sole independent career, and I just felt like all of my friends were still in college. They were in college student mode, and it hit me that this is my full-time career and that I've got one chance to really grow and put my all into it. And so I was 21 and I said, I'm just going to move somewhere where I'm away from everyone and can focus on me. And it was extremely difficult. I think Dubai is one of the hardest places you can be to grow a clientele. But if you do it right, you can grow 10 times faster than anywhere else in the world.
What was so challenging? What was extremely difficult? What was the hardest thing?
I think a lot of people here come from different backgrounds culturally, and they come at a time where they've lived their whole life knowing one specific culture. And so I had to adapt and kind of learn to everyone's wants and needs. Hair in every different region is different. Texture and what they want and what they expect and the way they communicate is so different. So I think that was the hardest thing for me. But looking back on it, I'm just so grateful. It's extremely diverse, and I think it does give you all the knowledge you need. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who would you say is your inspiration? When you said, I want to do this full time, there's not that many people in the industry, right, that are as noticeable or recognized besides Jen Atkin. She's, I guess, at the top of the game in the US, but who did you look up to?
She actually is who I looked up to. So when I was first starting into editorial, many of the most well-known and iconic hairdressers were male. So she was an example of a female in the industry who took hairdressing, I think, to another level. She took it a lot more from behind the chair and as a client relationship, and she showed how you can turn it into a business. And she developed, she's marketed herself to great lengths. And social media, I think she's used as an amazing tool. I do think she started kind of the movement for hairdressers on social media. And I just love everything she stands for. And she was a huge inspiration into the way I thought of hairdressing and the way I looked of it as a business and how a lot of people can actually work together instead of against each other.
But you're literally following her footsteps, creating, you're a powerhouse in terms of you made your own salon, which is amazing.
Thank you.
And what are your thoughts on hairdressing in Dubai as a whole? Because obviously you had all of your training outside of Dubai and you've come here and you've probably worked in different salons and now you're working in your own place. What is the standard and what do you expect from people working with you?
So when I first moved here, I noticed that actually 7 years ago, you did not need to have a license to work in a salon in Dubai, which is unheard of anywhere else in the world. So it's nice to see that as of the last few years, salons have kind of put an end to that and have actually been making it a requirement. So that's something that was very different. I also feel like salons are a very fast-paced environment here. So a lot of my clients that come in, they'll feel like they're not listened to or they're rushed, and they want to have stylists that are constantly getting the education. So when I did open my salon, I expect the team to be very motivated, very driven to kind of go out there and create their network and build a clientele, but I expect them to have a hunger and a drive to constantly be educated. I think that the best hairdressers are the ones that are constantly learning. And not just hairdressers, I think in every industry, you never know everything.
What do you think, like how far can you go with hair? You know, who would you say is like your muse that has trailblazed in like the hair game and has, because like we know Marilyn Monroe's like iconic do, Nicki Minaj with her wigs,
Here, Casey, it's fine. You can say us if you want to.
You know what? I don't think I have like a specific person that I look at for hair, but I do think I look at different eras. And I think that the 60s and the 90s have had some really iconic looks. And I think with hair, what's really interesting is we always think that we're the first to create something. Yeah. And when you look back at it, you're not. I think someone that really inspires me in terms of hairstyling as a hairdresser would be Guido. And I've actually worked on shows with him, and he makes you look at hair and you're like, wow, like I can actually do this with someone's hair. And you understand that once you know how to like get a shape that matches someone's facial features, it's easy to play around with color, with cuts, with textures. And so I think that's something that I draw inspiration from.
Interesting. As well as working in your own place, and before you started your own, you obviously worked in Dubai, but then you went to fashion weeks all over the world.
Yeah.
Tell us what that lifestyle is like in terms of a day in the life of working with supermodels and, you know, having to achieve perfection in, you know, a short amount of time. What's that like?
It's a lot of pressure.
I'm sure.
I think it's really cool, though. I tell the girls that work in my salon, like, you know, you should all experience it once in your life because it really, really pushes your boundaries in hairdressing. You've got to create a hairstyle that you would usually do in 1 hour in like 10, 15 minutes. And then I worked under Guido, who is, I mean, he's just the top of the top.
I'm so sorry. Who is Guido?
You know, oh my God. Okay, go look up Guido. He's honestly the most legendary hairdresser in the fashion industry. He's been doing it for over 30 years. And I think to be able to have a clientele for that long, it really goes to show how amazing you are at what you do. But if you're a hairdresser, like everyone wants to work under Guido. So that was a lot of pressure in itself. And then walking in and like getting the look, you go the night before, you usually practice the look on each other or on models. You have to take pictures of every angle, make sure everything is exactly the same so that when they walk down the runway, they all look the same. And then on top of that, you walk in the day and you have all these like models coming in, a lot of them which you've seen on TV or on books before. And you know, once you meet someone like that's famous or that you've seen online, I actually thought I would like be a little more nervous. But the day of, there's so much pressure. They're just another head of hair. So you're just, it's your job. They're the client. You're there to get it done.
And with supermodels, there's a specific stigma when working with them.
Such a polite way to put it. Stigma.
So what was your experience like?
I loved it, honestly. I think that they go through a lot more than people give them credit for, and they work really hard. And I think before I got into the industry, I used to think that these girls take pictures and they live a very amazing life and then they post it online and they get paid. And I think just being thrown into the like behind the scenes of it, you see how much hard work it is and how much dedication they've got to their career. And they've obviously done something right to get there. And they're just the sweetest backstage as well. So, I mean, it was, I think, life-changing for me to see it from their perspective. And that's why I push the girls to do everything in the industry.
Just thinking of, you're saying you practice the looks and then you have 15 minutes to achieve this perfect look.
Yeah.
Is it, I'm trying to compare it to something to make reference so I'd understand. Is it like you're working at a restaurant and, you know, you pass the dish forward.
Yeah.
And then the head chef is like either perfect or there's a Gordon Ramsay who's like, there's salt in it, you know.
So like,
is that what it's like?
There's so much pressure because you do the look the night before, and then if you've mastered it, then the day of you'll do the complete look. If not, then we'll get divided into teams. So you do have, usually every city, you'll have a team of assistants that joins, and nothing can get done without them, honestly, because they'll do the prep, they'll do everything so fast, and then the model will move on to get the look completed. So they should be in and out of, if you work with Guido, in and out of your chair in like 10, 15 minutes.
I'd like to work with Guido.
You need to see
Guido. You need to learn about Guido.
Honestly, yeah, if anyone that's watching this that's a hairdresser will be like, how do you not know who Guido is?
Feel so underprepared.
What was your favorite hairstyle that you've done, and who was it on? And what does Kendall Jenner smell like?
I don't think I remember what she smells like. But they're all very nice. I think my favorite hairstyle from like a fashion show would probably be the Fendi show that just happened in Rome. It was really cool the way that it was structured and how it was put together. And you just, like, anytime you create a very like graphic shape that just defies like the laws of gravity, it's really cool to see how it's come together. So
it takes a lot, obviously, for especially when you have like when you're defying the laws of gravity, essentially. What do people not acknowledge goes into hairstyling and hairdressing? Because you already mentioned a ton of stuff, but if someone wants to get into it, what should they be prepared for?
It's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of constant learning, I would say. There's so many different products, and you need to know how they react to the hair, why they work the way they do, why each look will need different products and different techniques. And I think actually working backstage, that's something that taught me, because when you do hair for a client or a photo shoot, it only needs to last for that hour, 2 hours that they're there. But then when you work with, for example, a show or a celebrity, it's something that needs to last for the full day. And most times they'll be on the runway ready from 7 a.m. They don't walk until that night. So It's just learning how to use things. And I think having an open mind, I feel a lot of hairdressers after a few years think that they're at the top, they've learned everything, there's nothing that you can teach them. So I think just lose the ego and be open to learn. Yeah.
How scary is it to jump into your own business? So Deena has just opened the collective, which is fabulous. I've been there, it's amazing.
Thank you so much.
But what is it like to jump into your own business from, I guess, working different salons, freelancing, and having that kind of successful career? Is it a scary move?
I think it's terrifying. I think with collective, to be honest, I was already freelancing at my previous salon in terms of kind of only working with my clientele, and I would come and go because I had such a busy career outside of the salon. But I think with collective, what really made me very scared in the beginning is the girls that joined. They joined because they believed so much in what I did and what I could offer to them in their careers. So I felt that pressure of making sure that they enjoyed every minute of it. They got every opportunity that I had, and it was a lot of pressure. It still is, but I think it's nice to have pressure because then you know that you care about what you're doing. Yeah.
Well, so basically you have the salon and you have the website too, right? What can we see that's different from different just websites and different salons?
So collective is acting. What I noticed in Dubai was a lot of salons were actually acting as solely a salon, and then the hairdressers had to work the way that the salon wanted them to, and then they had to kind of be there 9 to 5. They could only do salon clients, and they had to follow kind of whatever trend was going at the time. And so collective is a place where I wanted a bunch of hairdressers from around the world to come together and be their own person and do what they found empowered them as a hairdresser. So we've got specialists that specialize in color, some that specialize in cuts, and then editorial as well. So the salon is acting also as an agency to really push the girls to get backstage and to do photo shoots and have private clients. And I think the difference is that we want to connect the consumer to really understand what a hairdresser is. And then we also want to make the whole community in Dubai feel like we can actually collaborate and be a team instead of competing with each other. So the website is open to give free education for both the consumer and the hairdresser. And we're hosting different classes for like master classes that are for the hairdresser that wants to grow into editorial or into private clients. At the same time, we're giving all the tutorials and tips and tricks on how you can get the same exact look for a client.
Can I just say, by the way, guys, I've been in Dubai for like 8 years and I've been to many hair salons and many different stylists, and it's, you know, it's not a cheap thing to go around and to try it, and you come out and sometimes when you're upset and unhappy, but I've only in the last couple of years been with you and I've only ever been happy. Like, and that's such an amazing feeling to come out of a hair salon and being like, oh my God, I actually like my hair.
Thank you. That
means so rare. So thank you so much for making me feel happy in my hair. And I would suggest you to go to, is it a male? No, do you do?
So advice.
No, we can send you to one of the girls that do a few men.
I just want, it's an obscure haircut that I have at the moment. Help, basically.
Well, I think it's fashionable. I actually think it's trendy, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay, well.
He's like, I'll keep it.
Yeah, exactly. Once again, I was right. So also there's, at the moment on social media, you see hairdressers, makeup artists, stylists get the credit that they deserve. They're being tagged in all these posts.
Yeah.
But in general, do you think that they're finally receiving the recognition they deserve?
I think we're getting there. I think compared to other parts of the world, we could be, I mean, a lot more advanced. I do make it a point, actually, when I do anything with any other creative person, I tag them, from the production team to the photographers to the assistants. I mean, I think that there's so much that goes into creating something that people don't see, and you should give credit where credit is due. I do get it often where people will ask for like, well, can I do this for a tag? And Jenna can actually made a bunch of shirts that said a tag is not going to pay my bills. And it's so true. And I think,
can I do what for a tag?
Like, can you, if I get my hair done by you, can I, like, can we do it as a collaboration? I'll tag you instead of getting paid. And, you know, it's nice to do things like that when it's the start of your career and it's beneficial. And I think after a while, it gets to a point where it's like, you know, this is a really like sought after career. You've educated yourself for years, and it's like Jen said, it's not going to pay your bills. This is your career at the end of the day. So I think it's nice that people will tag you even if you've been paid for a job, because it's just kind of giving credit where credit is due. And to be completely honest, as creatives, we're all found online or through like back like a while ago when we had, I mean, I still get magazines, but I know like my little cousins and stuff don't. But when you'd open, you'd see all the credits. And Instagram is essentially a magazine that's put online. So I just think like give credit where credit is due.
Good, strong advice, guys. That is all we have time for. But Deena, thank you so much. Hairstylist to the stars. We really appreciate your time. If people want to get in touch with you or they want to learn more about the collective, how can they do so?
They can reach out to me on Instagram at Deena Alawaid or at collective_hair. And I would love to see some of them in the salon.